Hello and welcome to Coffee with Dr. Carla. I'm Dr. Carla. This is Amanda, and we're glad that you're here with us today. Our goal today is to talk about mental health related issues and hopefully start to end that stigma surrounding them. Um, there's a huge theme that seems to be threaded throughout many different aspects of people's lives, particularly those with um, chronic pain or some sort of disability, especially if it's invisible. It's the idea of being misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe shed a little light about how that concept of being misunderstood or maybe not taken seriously has shown up as you've been trying to navigate through life with your chronic pain.
Yeah. So I have chronic pain. On most days, I do have pain. I've had it for several years. And so I spend a lot of my time trying to get through my day like I think a normal person would, to stay up to that same bar.
Whatever that is.
Whatever
Yeah, whatever a normal person would do.
whatever that
Yeah,
is. And I think it puts me really in my head because when you're thinking about your pain and making sure that that nobody will notice that something is off with you or different
right,
with you or wrong with you, you're very in your head with everything. So, for example, I think that I have a ton of social anxiety. Like, I think I'm just a bumbling, don't know what I'm doing, and nobody else sees that in me.
right,
I'm very in my head. I am very just self conscious. And when I say things like, I can't go to that dinner or I can't do that activity, I feel very judged. So I'm saying that because I think a lot of the misunderstanding that I perceive too is a little bit in my own head. It's hard to decipher it actually.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure that part of it is that if you just say I can't go to that dinner, nobody understands that I
Mhm.
can't go to that dinner because my pain has flared up.
Right. And
Right?
that's something that most of my life, I've not been comfortable saying.
Yeah.
Not comfortable saying what is actually going on, not being vulnerable. I was raised in a household where you don't tell people what's going on, that you keep that very close, very secretive, very quiet. And so to actually tell somebody I can't do this because I'm in pain or this thing, it would be like revealing the curtain and letting
Right.
people in.
Yeah.
And so I think the misunderstanding is I think people see me the way that like try to put out there, but the misunderstanding is that's not always the true me.
Yeah. And while that might be true as well, and we will probably circle back to
Mhm.
that, but there's also probably the part where you have decided to be vulnerable
Mhm.
and share, and they still don't get it.
Yes. Yes. And that's hard too because if I choose to share my truth with somebody and they can't see it, receive it, be open to it, I have in the past always thought that's about me. Well, maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's about them. Maybe that
Right.
wasn't the right partner for me or friend for me or job for me. But when we think about being misunderstood, I always think it's about me.
Right. What did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong?
Or what's wrong with me
What's wrong with me?
as opposed to what happened to you? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's always what's wrong with me. You've heard me say this before. A very big theme is I'm broken. I'm
Yeah.
broken. I'm broken. I'm broken. So you walk through life feeling like yes, you have this chronic pain. Your body is not doing what you perceive it's supposed to. You're not supposed to have pain in your teens and 20s and 30s, and you do.
Right. Right.
So you feel broken. You feel not good enough, not worthy, and that shows up.
Yeah. I wonder, you know, obviously knowing who to share your story with
Hmm.
is key, and allowing, figuring out how to allow yourself to be vulnerable is also key. But, you know, what advice might you have for people as they try to navigate to figure out who are those people that I should or could share my story with, and what does it look like to be vulnerable? Like, how might you help somebody else who's trying to figure out the very same thing that you continue to figure out? And I don't know that you'll ever fully
Right.
conquer this because you're meeting new people all the time. And so obviously the scenario comes up over and over again. But I'm just
Hmm.
curious, what thoughts might you have to?
Well, I think the first thing is that comes to mind is the worthiness, which is still something you say to me. Like if somebody were to look at me, like really look at me and tell me that you're worthy, I would either be like, don't look at me, or if I really it was somebody I trusted and I really believed them, I would start crying. Right? Because it's
Yeah.
just this whole like, I'm worthy to take up space, I'm worthy to be here. And so when I think about for somebody, how do you start to share your truth to get over that maybe being misunderstood, or at least feeling misunderstood? Man, that's a bummer to go through life feeling
Right.
like nobody understands you. And I'm sure that people might be listening to this who have depression or other things, and they can really relate to like that core theme. And I think it would be finding the people to test the waters with, to let that, to open the door a little bit and let them in.
Right.
And I see a lot of people, you've got Brene Brown, who I'm a huge fan of, like speaking her truth out
Right.
there. But now we've got social media influencers and different things, and people are being vulnerable and putting them whole selves out there, it seems like to me, but that's only what I see.
Right. That's what we're being allowed to see. Right.
But that doesn't mean I have to then. Being vulnerable means I rip it all open and the whole world can see it.
Yes. Right.
Right? So like how do I start to test that waters where, you know, you get to see this part of me, and that's a privilege for both of us. And we can connect deeper. Maybe then I can share more about my pain, and because it's weird, the more I share about it and the more that I start to be open about it, these connections start to happen. People show up in my life who maybe I can help through my story, or somebody shows up
Exactly.
that's leveling me up to the next, part of my journey.
Well, and not everyone deserves to hear your story.
That's a
Right.
hard one.
Right.
It's a
But
hard one, yeah.
it's not a matter of, too much information or
Mm-mm.
oversharing. Sometimes people just don't deserve to hear your story
Right.
because they don't have the capacity to, receive it well or to treat you with compassion or kindness. There's just some people who just don't deserve to hear it, you
Yeah, and
know?
I think about that too, is I don't feel like I'm gonna say strong or brave enough, and maybe I'm being too hard on myself, but I don't feel strong enough to take a lot of rejection right now. Like when I'm trying to be vulnerable, I'm trying to receive from the people who are giving to me. So, I'm not there, I'm not feeling super strong in my stance to take the person who just wants to knock me down, who
Right.
hasn't maybe even listened to me, or they have a different take on chronic pain, they don't agree with the things I do. I just don't need that. I don't need to get knocked down by that person.
And I don't know that you need to be that person either, right?
Right.
Like if that's your cause and you feel passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
going after things like that and making that your platform, then that's a different story. But like I think the average person does not have to, stand in that arena and wait to be knocked down. That's not what they need to do, right? That's not what navigating this is all about.
Right. And as you were saying that and we're talking about this, it makes me think of how much I put my worth in other people's hands. That so chronic pain and misunderstood. Well, part of that is I'm reconciling my own body, my own situation in this society, and I've given you my power. You're going to tell me I'm worthy, not I'm inherently worthy just as a human being that's breathing on this planet and this universe.
And I'm going to allow you some insight into who I am, right? As
Right.
opposed to handing over my power to you. Yeah.
Right.
So important and so hard.
Yeah.
Um, and I can imagine that today might be a really good day and tomorrow it might not be such a great day,
Hmm.
right? And, this week maybe you're on with how to share and when to share, and the following week, not so much,
And I think
right?
I've found people who I can share that with. Like, hey, if I go quiet on you, it's probably something like this is going on. And so people know, people will check in on me, or they'll give me that grace. And even in the mundane, like, bickering with my partner or whatnot, we're able to, because we've been vulnerable to each other and we understand each other a bit more, we're just able to take a deep breath and kind of come through some of that. So these, again, testing the waters with people.
Yeah, it makes a
Mhm.
huge impact. Well, hopefully those watching can understand that there are ways to start speaking your truth, right, and showing up, but also remember that not everybody deserves to hear your story, so it's okay to not share with everybody.
Absolutely.
So remember, you can change your thoughts, discover your potential, and transform your life by focusing on your overall well-being. So until next time, continue working on being the best you possible. Bye.